Right now, in a desert city halfway around the world from Detroit, something is happening that American car executives should be paying attention to. Chinese electric vehicles are pulling into driveways, shopping malls, and grocery store parking lots in Dubai, and they are doing something nobody expected. They are beating Tesla, not by a little. BYD, NIO, Zeekr, and at least 12 other Chinese EV brands have set up shop in the United Arab Emirates, and people are buying their cars faster than anyone predicted. Tesla has been in the UAE for years. They built the charging stations. They built the brand. They had the head start. But over the past 5 years, Tesla has been losing market share to these Chinese newcomers, and the gap is getting wider. The reason why is not what you think. It is not just about price, although that plays a part. It is about something deeper, something that touches on culture, lifestyle, and the way people see themselves in the cars they drive. Dubai is the only place on earth outside of China where you can walk into a mall and see 15 different Chinese EV brands competing side by side. It is a living laboratory, and what is happening there right now is a preview of what could happen in America if these brands ever cross the ocean. If you are enjoying videos like this, please hit the like button because it takes a lot of effort to make these, and subscribe so you do not miss the next one. What you are about to hear is the story of how a handful of Chinese car companies walked into one of the most competitive luxury markets on the planet and started winning, and why the same playbook could show up on American roads sooner than anyone thinks. But to understand how this happened, you first need to understand the city where it all began, a city built by people from everywhere. Dubai is not like most cities. If you walk down a street in downtown Dubai, you will hear a dozen languages in a single block. English, Arabic, Hindi, Tagalog, Mandarin, French. The reason is simple. About 90% of the people living in Dubai came from somewhere else. They are expats, immigrants, and workers who moved there for jobs, for opportunity, and for a different life. Only about 10% of the population is local Emirati. That mix of people matters a lot when it comes to cars, because almost nobody in Dubai grew up loyal to a single car brand the way someone in Detroit might feel about Ford, or someone in Stuttgart might feel about Mercedes. People in Dubai come from all over, and they bring open minds. They do not have decades of brand loyalty pulling them toward one manufacturer. They just want a good car at a fair price. Think about it this way. If you grew up in a small town in Texas where your dad drove a Chevy truck and your granddad drove a Chevy truck, you probably have a deep emotional connection to Chevrolet. Now, imagine you grew up in Mumbai, moved to London for 5 years, then relocated to Dubai for a banking job. You do not have that kind of attachment to any car brand. You are starting fresh. You are looking at the market with clear eyes, and you are going to buy whatever gives you the best value for your money. That is the mindset of most car buyers in Dubai, and it is exactly the mindset that Chinese EV manufacturers were hoping to find. The government of the UAE also wants electric vehicles on the road. They have made it easy for EV manufacturers to import cars and sell them. Low barriers to entry, fast approvals, encouragement for green technology. If you are a Chinese EV company looking to test your cars outside of China, Dubai is basically an open door. You do not have to fight through years of regulations the way you might in Europe or the United States. You can ship your cars, set up a showroom, and start selling. The government sees electric vehicles as a way to build a more sustainable future, and they are willing to roll out the welcome mat for any company that helps them get there. And that is exactly what happened. Chinese EV brands started arriving in waves. First 1 or 2, then 5, then 10, and now there are at least 15 different Chinese EV manufacturers competing in the UAE market. You can see them everywhere. Park at a grocery store in Dubai, and you will spot a Bide next to a NIO, next to a Zeekr, next to a Yangwang. It has become normal. It has become part of the landscape. When a new Chinese EV brand launches in Dubai, it often opens a showroom in a popular shopping mall, not on a lonely stretch of highway. They want people to stumble across their cars while buying groceries or picking up a coffee. It is a strategy that puts the product directly in front of thousands of potential buyers every single day, and it works. This matters because Dubai is essentially a testing ground. Chinese car companies are using the UAE to figure out what international buyers actually want. What price point works? What features matter? What marketing messages stick? Every car sold in Dubai is a data point that helps these companies refine their strategy for the rest of the world. And the data they are collecting right now is pointing towards something big. So why are people in Dubai choosing Chinese EVs over established brands? The answer starts with something surprisingly simple: the price tag that changes everything. If you want to buy an electric vehicle in Dubai, your options span a huge range. On one end, you have German manufacturers like BMW and Mercedes offering EV versions of their cars, and those come with premium price tags. They are beautiful machines, but they are expensive. A Mercedes EQs can cost well over 400,000 dirhams, which is more than 100,000 US dollars. A BMW i7 is similarly priced. These are cars for people who have a lot of money and want the prestige of a German luxury badge. On the other end, you have Chinese brands like BYD, and the difference in price is dramatic. Take BYD as an example. Some of their models start around 150,000 dirhams. That is roughly 40,000 US dollars. For a brand new electric vehicle with modern technology, a touchscreen, decent range, and all the features most people care about, that is an incredibly attractive number. It is the kind of price that makes someone who is thinking about a petrol car stop and reconsider. You are getting a brand new EV for less than what a mid-range petrol SUV would cost you. That is a powerful proposition. But the price of the car itself is only part of the story. The financing deals are where things get really interesting. Chinese EV dealerships in Dubai have been running promotions that sound almost too good to be true. Interest rates as low as 0% for the first 3 years. That is not a typo, 0%. If you are financing a car over 5 years, and the first 3 of those years carry no interest, your monthly payments drop significantly. For a lot of buyers, that is the difference between dreaming about an EV and actually driving one home. Imagine walking into a dealership, finding a car you love, and being told that for the first 3 years, you are only paying for the car itself with 0 interest on top. That is the kind of deal that makes people sign papers the same day. On top of the financing, dealerships are throwing in extras that make the deal even harder to resist. Free registration for your new car, free insurance for the first year. These are costs that normally add thousands of dirhams to the total price of ownership, and Chinese EV sellers are simply absorbing them. Regular car manufacturers, the ones selling petrol vehicles, cannot compete with these bundles. They are staying out of the fray because the math does not work in their favor. If you are a traditional dealership selling petrol cars, you have margins you need to protect. You cannot give away free insurance and 0% financing without losing money. But Chinese EV companies are playing a longer game. They are willing to take a hit on individual sales right now to build market share and brand awareness for the future. The result is that it has actually become easier and cheaper to get behind wheel of a Chinese EV in Dubai than it is to buy a similar petrol-powered car. That is the reversal of what most people expect. Electric vehicles are supposed to be the expensive option, the premium choice. But in Dubai, Chinese brands have flipped that script entirely. A buyer who walks into a Mazda dealership looking for a petrol car might end up across the street at a BYD showroom because the EV deal is simply better in every way. Price gets people through the door, but it is not what keeps them loyal. For that, you need something else entirely. Cars that tell people who you are. In Dubai, cars are not just transportation, they are statements. Dubai is known around the world as a flashy, extravagant place, and the cars people drive are part of that identity. When you pull into a valet line at a hotel or a restaurant, your car says something about you before you even step out. It's like wearing a watch or choosing a particular brand of sunglasses. People notice. People form opinions. And Chinese EV manufacturers understand this better than almost anyone else right now. BYD has become the family-friendly choice. It is the car you see in the school drop-off line, the one your neighbor just brought home. It is practical, affordable, and reliable. People who drive BYDs tend to see themselves as smart shoppers who got a great deal on a car that does everything they need. BYD has been incredibly aggressive with marketing, especially on social media platforms like TikTok, where short videos of happy owners showing off their cars have become a regular sight. Their visibility on the roads has made them the most popular Chinese EV brand in Dubai right now. When a brand becomes common enough that your neighbor has one, it creates a sense of trust. You think, if my neighbor bought one and seems happy, maybe I should look into it too. Then there is Zeekr. If you see a Zeekr on the road in Dubai, there is a good chance it is orange. There is also a good chance it is fully loaded with every extra and add-on available. Zeekr owners are not looking for a sensible family car. They want something that stands out, something sporty, something that turns heads. Driving a Zeekr is a lifestyle choice, and the people who buy them are making a deliberate statement about who they are and what they value. It is like the difference between someone who buys a practical hatchback and someone who buys a sports car with a bright paint job. Both get you from point A to point B, but they broadcast very different messages about the person behind the wheel. NIO is a different story. NIO has a passionate following, and some buyers fell in love with the brand years ago and will not consider anything else. NIO cars come with unique features like an artificial intelligence assistant named Nomi that sits on the dashboard and interacts with the driver. They have massage seats, premium interiors, and a community of owners who feel deeply connected to the brand. But NIO has not quite figured out its identity in the UAE market yet. It has not pinned down exactly who its target owner is, and that has made its marketing feel a bit unfocused compared to the clear positioning of BYD and Zeekr. It is a fantastic car, but when people ask what kind of person drives an NIO, the answer is less clear than it is for BYD or Zeekr. This idea of lifestyle affiliation is crucial. It is the reason someone pays more for a car when a cheaper option exists. It is the reason brands matter. People do not just buy a car, they buy an identity, they buy a community, they buy a feeling. And Chinese EV brands have been remarkably good at creating those feelings in a short amount of time. But there is one brand that used to own the lifestyle space in Dubai, and it made a decision that changed everything. The decision that cost Tesla its edge. Tesla was the first major EV brand to arrive in the UAE, and for a while, it was the only one that mattered. When Tesla showed up, people in Dubai were drawn to it. It was new. It was exciting. It was a status symbol. Driving a Tesla meant you were ahead of the curve, that you cared about technology and the future. Tesla built supercharger stations across the country. They invested in infrastructure. They built brand awareness. For years, they were the default choice for anyone in Dubai who wanted an electric vehicle. If you were a tech entrepreneur, a finance executive, or anyone who wanted to look forward thinking, a Tesla was the car to have. Then, something changed. Tesla started selling thousands of cars to taxi companies, bulk contracts, fleet deals. Suddenly, the Model Y that a family had just purchased for 200,000 dirhams was the same car pulling up at the airport with a taxi light on top. The same shape, the same color, the same everything. Imagine spending a significant amount of money on a car because it felt special, and then seeing 10 of them lined up at a taxi stand outside a mall. That is what happened in Dubai. The very thing that made Tesla desirable, the feeling that you were driving something exclusive and cutting edge, started to fade. When your neighbor has the same car as the taxi that just dropped someone off at the airport, the magic dims a little. Tesla went after numbers. They wanted volume. They wanted thousands of vehicles on the road, and they got them. But in doing so, they lost something that is very hard to get back. They lost the lifestyle appeal. They lost the feeling of exclusivity that made people want the car in the first place. When your car becomes a taxi, it stops being a statement. It becomes a utility vehicle. And in a city like Dubai, where image and status matter enormously, that shift matters more than you might think. People who bought a Tesla to stand out suddenly found themselves blending in with a fleet of identical taxis. This is where Chinese EV brands saw an opening. BYD positioned itself as the smart family choice. Zeekr became the sporty, attention-grabbing option. NIO built a passionate community of brand loyalists who loved the technology and the community feel. Each one carved out a lifestyle niche, and Tesla was left competing on volume and price alone. Over the past 5 years, Tesla has lost EV market share in Dubai to BYD specifically, and to Chinese EV brands in general. The trend is clear, and it is not slowing down. Every quarter, more Chinese EVs hit the roads, and Tesla's piece of the pie gets a little smaller. The irony is that Tesla created the EV market in Dubai. They did the hard work of building charging infrastructure and educating consumers. They paved the road, and music, then Chinese brands drove right down it. What happened in Dubai is not an isolated story. It is a pattern, and it has implications that reach far beyond the UAE, the playbook heading west. What is happening in Dubai right now is essentially a dress rehearsal for the global stage. Chinese EV companies are learning lessons in the UAE that they will carry with them everywhere they go next. They are learning what price points attract buyers. They are learning how to build lifestyle brands that create loyalty. They are learning which features matter to international consumers and which ones do not. Every car sold in Dubai is a piece of market research that makes the next market easier to crack. Think of Dubai as a giant classroom where Chinese car companies are taking notes, running experiments, and figuring out exactly what works before they take their final exam in bigger markets. If countries